In the last decade, a visual K-band going major has been viewed by some fans as the equivalent of artistic suicide. To paraphrase a quote from Kisaki that he did in an interview with Purple Sky magazine back in 2007, major labels just want you to write a song that sells. While some bands have handled this more commercial transition very well, others alienated a wide swath of their fan base by going with sounds that were dramatic departures from their established genres. One of the latest among these bands to graduate to major label status is Exist Trace. With an established mixture of goth and metalcore, the band grew a very dedicated fan base which culminated in one of the highest attended VK US debut concerts ever at their performance at SakuraCon 2011. But as with many bands before them that made the big major jump, their sound has changed quite a bit. But how has the transition been handled? Let's find out as we dive into Exist Trace's full-length major label debut album, Virgin. Now, this isn't Exist Trace's first major label release, having already released 2 EPs in the past year. If you listen to those, you have a good idea of what you're getting into here. The band continues to distance themselves from their screamy earlier days in favor of more easily accessible hard rock. The emphasis on death growls is all too common in VK metal, but what really set Exist Trace apart from the other bands is that they exuded goth elements not only in their look, but their music as well. These elements were missing from their last 2 releases, but thankfully have made a bit of a return in Virgin. Emphasis on the word bit. There are a handful of songs that capture the goth feel in ways that were never really fully explored in their indies days. While those songs were more for the headbangers, their gothic exploration here is more melodic and ambient. This is best exemplified in the album's standout track, the opener Wonderland, which also might quite possibly be one of their best songs ever. With a pipe organ opener, darker overtones, and an anthem-like chorus, it feels very reminiscent of Michiru Yamane's work with Castlevania Symphony of the Night. This is the kind of song that shows how a band can take their original sound and make it much more accessible to a wider audience. On the flip side, the band experiments with a new sound here that really falls flat on its face. Following in the footsteps of bands like Sid and Mary, Virgin has a few songs that experiment in jazz rock. Despite appearing on the album just as often as the more gothic-oriented songs, the jazz songs take center stage as the album's lead single is the swing number Ginger, which is quite possibly the worst song on the album. Oh, Ginger, Ginger. The problem with Ginger and the other jazz number on the album, Kiss in the Dark, is that we've heard so many other bands try this before, and Exist Trace does nothing with the sound that is exciting or bold. The 2 songs on the album are very by the numbers and don't feel as fulfilling as, say, Nightmare's Maria. Maria had a jazzy, swingy feel that complemented the rest of the album, whereas Kiss in the Dark and Ginger bring an otherwise hard rock album to a screeching halt. When taken by themselves, Kiss in the Dark can be an enjoyable song as it relies on the band's core instrumentation, while Ginger's emphasis on synthesized horns and its overall unnatural feeling make it difficult to digest, despite its fun nature. In the context of the album, however, these songs stand out terribly and really disrupt the flow. It doesn't make matters any better that Exist Trace fans have already heard Kiss in the Dark before. Which brings me to my next point. The other downside of the album is that some of the stronger tracks already appeared in previous major EPs and are included in Virgin completely unaltered. There's no extra instrumentation, remastering, remixing, or anything else to make them feel new. They appear unaltered from original appearances in past releases. While this is fine for people who didn't pick up the past EPs, it's a little hard to recommend to people who did buy them. The good thing is, they are the best songs from those EPs, and if just taken on Virgin by itself, stand out as some of the album's best tracks. Overall, the album isn't bad. There are some downsides, but they are made up for with some truly outstanding moments, such as the technical guitar work and the dual vocals between Joe and Miko. Virgin in the end feels like an album from a band trying to find a new identity. Part of them want to play with the top shots and create sounds that are new to them, while the other side wants to hold on to their origins and further explore their darker side of music. There are a few songs that exemplify both extremes, but the majority of the album finds middle ground, and those songs are either good or mediocre. I'm going to give this album a 7 out of 10. It's not a knockout punch, but it's not terrible by any means, and there's going to be a lot of moments where you're going to want to jump up and down and have a good time. In the end, Virgin is a stepping stone to what will eventually be their next release, as the band continues to strive to find an identity for themselves in the major label market.